even to have a college degree at all, or even high school. I mean, if somebody graduated from a great university, that may be an indication that they will be capable of great things, but it's not necessarily the case. You know, if you look at, say, people like Bill Gates or Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, these guys didn't graduate from college. But if you had a chance to hire them, of course, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just looking just for evidence of exceptional ability, and if there's a track record of exceptional achievement, then it's likely that that will continue into the future. How I describe myself? Well, I mean, I seem to have a high innate drive, and that's been true even since I was a little kid. You know, I really had a very strong drive. Did all sorts of risky things when I was a kid that why did I do those things? They're crazy. I care a lot about the truth of things and trying to understand the truth of things. I think that's important. You know, if you're going to come up with some solution, then the truth is really, really important, I think. I try to think of, I mean, it's difficult to obviously come up with things that are praise for oneself, you know, or there's bad and good here, but I think sometimes they're just the things that seem quite clear and obvious to me, and I don't understand why they aren't so obvious to everyone. Sure.
So how would you educate your 5 boys?
Actually, I created a little school. Yeah.
What kind of school? Could you describe to us?
Sure. It's small. It's only got 14 kids now, and it'll have 20 kids in September. It's called Ad Astra, which means to the stars. That's maybe a bit different from most other schools, is that there aren't any grades. There's no not grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 type of thing. I'm making all the children go in the same grade at the same time, like an assembly line.
I know.
You know, because some people love English or languages, some people love math, some people love music, and different abilities at different times. It makes more sense to cater the education to match their aptitudes and abilities. So I think that's one principle. Another is that it's important to teach problem solving, or teach to the problem, not to the tools. So this would be like, let's say you're trying to teach people about how engines work, or you know, you could start by a more traditional approach would be to say, well, we're going to teach you all about screwdrivers and wrenches, and you're going to have a course on screwdrivers, a course on wrenches, and all these things, and this is a very difficult way to do it. A much better way would be like, here's the engine, now let's take it apart. How are we going to take it apart? Oh, you need a screwdriver. That's what the screwdriver is for. You need a wrench. That's what the wrench is for. And then a very important thing happens, which is that the relevance of the tools becomes apparent.
So all your 5 boys are in that school?
Yes.
Until when? This is from
I don't know.
preschool
So far
to...
it's only 1-year-old. They like it.
They like it?
Yeah.
And you want to keep them away from regular schools?
No, I just didn't see that the regular schools they weren't doing the things that I thought should be done. Like, you know, those 2 principles, they weren't adhering to those principles. So I thought, well, let's see what we can do. Maybe creating a school will be better. And I actually hired a teacher from the school they were at, who also agreed with me that there was a better way to do it.
Have they surprised you in a way of their innovative thinking?
Yeah, it seems to be going pretty well. I mean, the kids really love going to school. I think that's a good sign. You know, I mean, I hated going to school when I was a kid. It was torture. So the fact that they actually think vacations are too long, like they want to go back to school.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird.
I know.
Age or people like that, what is it you have in common with them?
Well, I mean, those are pretty different personalities, you know, between Gates and Jobs and Ellison.
Business and success?
I think you know, all 3 of those were technologists, but with different types of skills. You know, Jobs was obviously very good with aesthetics and you know, he understood technology, of course, and he really understood what people wanted even when they didn't know themselves. And he was not afraid to, you know, break boundaries. But, you know, say, like Gates would probably be better at, you know, sort of raw engineering and technology than Jobs, but not as good on aesthetics. But I mean, for all of these guys, they're obviously very driven, and they're very talented, and yeah, and they're able to attract great people to build a company. But I mean, the ability to attract and motivate great people is critical to the success of a company, because a company is just, it's a group of people that are assembled to create a product or service. That's the purpose of a company. People sometimes forget this elementary truth. And so if, you know, if you're able to get great people to join the company and work together towards a common goal, and you sort of have a relentless sense of perfection about that goal, then you will end up with a great product. And if you have a great product, lots of people will buy it, and then the company will be successful.
Yeah.
Really, it's pretty straightforward, really. I mean, yeah, that's the reason for it. I wouldn't say I'm fearless. In fact, I think I feel fear quite strongly. But if what we're doing is, if what, you know, what I'm doing is, I think is important enough, then I just override the fear.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's not as though I feel like more strongly than I would like. Then I, you know, will overcome the fear and just do it anyway. But essentially, I mean, I just drive overrides fear, but I feel the fear. It's kind of annoying. I wish I didn't.
Okay.
I wish I felt it less. So I think, no, I mean overall, I think I'm pretty happy with what you know, where things are. It's hard not to be, honestly.
Yeah.
You know. I'd be, yeah. Yeah, things are in a good place right now, and I mean, I'd like to, looking ahead, I'd like to see humanity go beyond Earth and have people on Mars. That would be really great. And to see widespread adoption of electric vehicles and renewable energy. These are great things. And yeah, I think those would be really, really cool. I think, you know, so when you create a company, I mean, if you think, well, what is a company really? A company is a group of people gathered together to create a product or service. And that's really all a company is. And so you have to really believe in what you're creating, and that it's, and know in your heart and mind that this is something that matters, that and that the world ought to have. And I think it's important to investors to show that you're all in. And I think, for example, with Tesla, the fact that I invested all the money I had, literally I had to borrow money from friends to pay the rent in 2008. The fact that I was all in, I think, was made a huge difference to the investors, to convince them to invest in Tesla at the same time that say GM and Chrysler were going bankrupt. Yeah, I think you have to show that you really care. Like it's like that you've got skin in the game, and that you've given it everything that you've got, and then the other people at the company will follow suit, as will investors. I think that's really important. Yeah, I did that at both SpaceX and Tesla. I think that's really fundamental. And then when you hire people, or really what you're trying to, when you hire people, that just means you're convincing people to join you in the endeavor. You should hire people that are also passionate about what you're doing. So it's not just that they're not just there for the salary. They really need to care about what they're doing, and then they will stay during the dark times.
I'm the one, you remember me, sir. I'm Miss Mamie Brown's boy. I'm the one. I'm the one. And you must feel that's why you're here, because you are the one. And I remember when PBS first played one of my specials called You Deserve, one Sunday afternoon in Miami, Florida. I had some friends call him to tell him to tune in. And he watched the program. He called me in Detroit, and I answered the phone. I said, hello. He said, may I speak to Les Brown, please? I said, who's calling? He said, you know who this is. I said, oh, Mr. Washington, it's you. He said, you were the one, weren't you? I said, yes, sir. He said, and you were so crazy. I said, I know, but I'm rich now. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to be easy. It was hard laying on the floor of the Penobscot building, looking out of the window, daydreaming, saying, Les, can you do this? Can you make this happen? I used to listen to tapes day in and day out about See You at the Top, my great friend Zig, and Dennis Waitley, and different other motivational speakers, and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And Dexter saying, don't let nobody steal your dream. I used to ask myself, can I do this? And something said within me, you're the one. You're the one. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. While you're here, and before you go back home to your respective cities and communities, write down at least 5 reasons on why you deserve your dream, on why you won't give up, what's going to make you unstoppable, why you must be unreasonable, because logical, practical thinking says you can't do it today. But if you want to produce unreasonable results in your life, like living your dream and taking charge of your destiny, you've got to be an unreasonable person. You've got to be an uncommon person. So write down the reasons of why you're here. My first major goal was to buy my mother a home. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, what will reasons do, Les? Nietzsche said, if you know the why for doing, you can endure almost anyhow. What do you mean by that? If you know why you're doing something, when the hard times come, and they're going to come, when the disappointments and the rejections come, and they're going to come by the truckloads, your reasons will be your rod and staff to comfort you, to pick you up. Once again, I got a saying on one of my tapes, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. Let your reasons get you back up. I remember when I bought the home for my mother, and she came out of the car. When I opened the door, I said, Mom, I think I know these people in this house. That was my first major goal. And then I couldn't conceal it anymore. I said, Mom, I got this for you. And as she went from room to room, looking at the house and saying, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Lord. No one ever could have convinced me that this could have happened to me. And she looked at me and she said, Leslie, and you caused me so much problems as a boy. You were always into stuff. She said, no one could have convinced me that day when I walked in that house and this lady was holding you and your brother. And she said, ma'am, I want you to promise me 2 things. And she said, what is it? She says, 1, promise me that you won't separate them. She said, I want them raised together. I want them to know each other. I got pregnant while my husband was away in the war, and I can't keep them. Promise me that you won't separate them. She said, I promise I won't. I've never had children. I promise I won't separate them. And she said, promise me that you'll never tell them about who I am, because if my husband ever found out, he would kill me. She said, I promise. And she said that she gave them to us, and she kind of cried, and she was walking out the door, and she looked at my adopted mother. She said, remember, don't you separate them. She said, I swear to God, I won't separate them. I'll keep them together. And she said, as I held y'all in my arms, I never had any children of my own. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I knew with the help of God, I will do it. And ladies and gentlemen, my mother had a dream of having children and raising us. She didn't know how she was going to do it. You're going to be just like that. And some of you are already there. Well, you don't know how you're going to make this happen, but you just feel within yourself some way, somehow, with the help of God, I'm going to make it happen. Repeat after me, please. No matter how bad it is, or how bad it gets, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it.
I'm not suggesting that you don't work hard in terms of an idea, but I'm trying to tell you, if you grind, you will be broke the rest of your life, or you will barely make it. This society did not become rich by workers. It came rich by the people who knew how to put the workers to work.
I want to be one of the best at what I do. I want to change lives. And I got a call from Les Brown. And I flew to go meet Les Brown. He said, E.T., you should be making at least $50,000 internationally and $100,000 internationally. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, kid, you good. So I went home. I was like, God, why I ain't making $50,000? He said, because you watching the World Series. Because you watching the NBA Finals. Because you watching football and you watching 3 games. You watching the 1 o'clock game, the 4:30 game, the 8 p.m. game, and then you watch ESPN to rewatch everything you watched. That's why you ain't successful. You're watching LeBron make his dreams become a reality. You're watching the Black Mamba make his dreams become reality. If you put the same time LeBron put in, and I started studying, and I realized as an African-American male, I need to get a master's degree and a PhD in order to do what I'm doing. And guess what? I had to get up even though it was hard, and I had to take ownership of my life, take ownership of my time, take ownership of my day. You got a phone and you're not learning the second language, that's your fault. You got a phone and you don't know how to do calculus, that's your fault. You got a cell phone, a smartphone, you can go on the internet and all you're doing is being social on it, while Zuckerberg is making billions of dollars on it. Showtime. Listen to me, one more thing, but I'll leave you with this. It's time to take ownership. You want your clothes washed? Mama, make the boy wash his clothes. Teach him how to separate the colors from the white. Mama, let your boy cook. Teach him how to cook. Let him take ownership. Make him go grocery shopping. He said, well, he don't know how to cook like me. Give him at least a day then. Give him 2 days. Take ownership. Teach him how to change the oil. Make him put gas in the car. Ownership. I love my daughter to life, but when we go to the gas station, my baby girl get out and pump the gas. Somebody said, why you make your queen to be? Why you make her pump gas? Because I need to teach her one day I might die on this plane and she need to know how to put the gas in the car. Listen to me very closely. Make these boys grow up. Fellas, take ownership. Don't you ever say you don't have something because of what somebody's doing. So I need you to take ownership of your time, of your what? Of your mind, of your what? Oh, come on, y'all playing. I used to get so mad at Jalen. Jalen would get up. I knew it was football day because he'd get up 6 o'clock in the morning. His uniform was ready. His shoes was ready. And he would eat breakfast. I'm like, what's going on? He like, game day. Friday night lights, game day. And I would be so upset. And he like, why you hating on me? You hating on me, Dad? Like, you can't stand, I'm gonna be a football player. I'm going to the league. You hating on me. I said, I'm not hating on you. But what I hate is that the energy for school and the energy for life, you don't have the same energy for that you got for football and girls. All I'm asking for is the same energy you put in sports. I'm asking for the same thing in terms of your mind. So before I go to my last one, first day of school, Jalen is at a predominantly white school. No white, no black professors. No, it's a high school. No teachers, no administration, no faculty or staff. I send my son to the school. My son get to the school. I pay attention. They got like where you can go online and look at their grades. First test he got in math was a 38. Second one was a 58. Now my son didn't know it, but he forgetful. So he left the password in that joint. I wrote it down. So I was just going on a sneak tip without even knowing, looking at his stuff. So one day he in there getting ready, he in there getting the hat to match the J's. He got the fit and he in there singing to himself, rapping, doing his thing. I walked in, I said, son, I got a question to ask. He said, what's up, Dad? I said, do you have a learning disability? And he was like, a what? I said, a learning disability. He said, a learning disability? Come on, Dad. Where you get that from? I said, boom, 38 and the 58. That's where I got that from. He was like, oh, no, Dad, no. See, what happens is, they give out about 10, 15 tests throughout the course of the year, and the first 2, I'm just kind of filling it out. I'm filling the teacher out. I was like, well, you ain't doing a good job of filling her out, though, son. You got 38 and a 58. He's like, but Dad, don't you see the progression, Dad? 38, 58. Next one about to be a 78. I got this. Now, I probably shouldn't be saying this because we're recording, but I told my son, you're one of the very few black males at that school. You got 30 days, son. You represent me. I'm around here telling people all over the world as a motivational speaker that they gotta want to succeed as bad as they want to breathe. And my own seed ain't taking it serious. I'm willing to catch a case, son. He know I wasn't playing. My man came back 30 days later with all A's. I was heated. I was upset. And he was like, Dad, it seemed like I do bad, you pissed. I do good, I can't win. I said, I'm pissed because you should have been doing this in the first place. But now somebody got to tell you they're going to whip you or they're going to disrespect you in order for you to do it. Take ownership. If you can get all A's in the class, do it. You don't need nobody to give you $50, $100, no pair of shoes, take you on no trip. You a grown man. Do it because you can. Do it because our ancestors couldn't. My man at the University of Michigan, do you understand 100 years ago, those Africans that were enslaved could have went to U of M and murdered, could have went to Princeton and Harvard and Yale, but it was illegal for a black man or a black woman to read. They would lynch you if you got caught learning. And here you are with the opportunity and you ain't gonna do it.
Until you have had the taste of finishing, you will not respect yourself. Until you follow through, until something is done, come hell or high water, tears and struggles and pain, and you go through it anyway, and you show up and you continue to fight on no matter the circumstances. After a while, something begins to wither inside of you. Love beareth of finishing. You will not respect yourself until you follow through.